When does someone know it's connection and not chemistry? Because I feel like you might be tricked. We have this incredible connection. We understand each other. We get each other. I can't explain it, but I feel something. That feeling might be also chemistry at the same time, right?
Yes.
It might be masking
Yes.
if it's really connection or chemistry. So how do you know if it's true connection over, man, there's this desire, connection, attraction, all these things happening at once?
One, can you truly be yourself with this
Ooh,
person?
that's big.
All right? Because again, a lot of people, they go on these dates, they're bringing their representative, and the chemistry happens on a surface level with the representatives that both sides are bringing. But when you actually show your true self, now what happens? And a lot of people have not done that with their partner or the person that they're getting to know. So again, you're falling into the hype of the chemistry or the compatibility, but you're not discovering true connection being there. So you got to be able to be yourself, because real connection loves you at the core. All right? You can show me all the parts of you. I still want you. All right? Number two is, can we enjoy each other with no distractions? All right? Again, what people fail to understand, and this can happen with chemistry, is that we're bonding based off of the activity or the things in our environment. Meaning, all right, we love going out together and we do all these fun stuff and we're doing all these things. And that's great, all right? We know how to have fun together. But can we be alone in a room, no TV, no distraction, no phone, just us, and still love being with each other? A lot of people can't say that. A lot of people are only able to be in their relationship and tolerate their partner, and I use that word strongly, tolerate their partner, because they have enough distractions in their life. They have kids, they have work, they have all these other things going on.
TV, video games, man caves, whatever.
Exactly. All these things that pull them away from their partner, that doesn't allow them to face the fact that, no, you really don't like each other at their core.
Man.
And so that is a huge sign of connection. That's why, like, one thing I suggested in one of my books was go on a road trip. And it's just a random suggestion, but go on a road trip for at least 6 hours, no phone, no distraction, just you and them talking. Will you still be happy after those 6 hours? A lot of people can't make it that far in a car ride with their partner. All right? A lot of people cannot be in a room alone with their partner and nothing else to take their attention. So you gotta really push those boundaries to see, what do we really have here, if this is really gonna be called a connection.
Right. And your fear is, are you able to grow together after 10, 15 years? Is that one of the main things?
It's you know, it's hard to, you never can look that far ahead, and we don't know what's in store.
May not be here tomorrow.
Exactly. It's a concern of, can we still give that same energy? And it's both sides, because again, I'm not saying I'm not perfect. So even though I'm confident that I could do it, what if there's something that throws me off? It's just that, yes, as time goes on, there's that test of really putting your best foot and bringing that same energy that you brought in the beginning. Now, again, I think I'm holding myself to a higher standard than I think most people do, because I think that a lot of people's mentality is, well, things change. Things are gonna be different. It's okay. So what? You don't go out as much anymore. People think like this, but they don't realize that's why your relationship is deteriorating.
Right.
I don't want a deteriorated relationship. So when I think about, yes, can I be with someone past 10, 15 years if I accept a level of mediocrity? Of course. But
You don't want that.
Exactly. I'm saying, can we maintain excellence after these 10, 15 years?
Fulfillment.
Exactly.
Fun, play.
Peace, happiness, joy, all these things. Because to me, what is the point of being here if we don't have it, if we're not operating at our highest level?
What about the saying that I hear, whether this is a meme or this is women saying this online, maybe you know the line better than me. If he can't accept me at my worst, he doesn't deserve me at my best.
I hate that line. I absolutely hate it. And I hate it because it has turned into validation for not addressing your flaws and issues. All right? I agree with it from the standpoint of, you've got to be able to handle your partner's worst moments. All right? Because we're going to all have moments. We're going to all fall. We're all going to make a mistake. It's going to happen. Over time, that's just the way it is. But when you are essentially trying to say, I have a horrible flaw and you should accept it, even when I want to consistently make you deal with it, no, that's not going to work for me.
Yeah,
I can't accept that. That's not okay. And so a lot of people, that's what they're turning it into.
That's you not taking accountability and responsibility for growth.
Exactly.
It's going back to, okay, this is where I'm at. I don't want to address it. You just have to accept it or don't be with me.
Exactly. You know, it reminds me of like, I don't know if they still say it, but I know at one time people would say arguing is healthy for a relationship. All right? I despise that.
I don't know if I agree. I understand that. Yeah, I just don't like that.
No, at all.
Can you communicate with we don't agree on this, but do you have to argue?
Exactly. That's my thing. Disagreement is acceptable. Disrespect is not.
Ooh.
All right? So
Say it one more time.
disagreement is acceptable. Disrespect is not.
That's good.
All right? So my thing is, yes, it's okay and even healthy to have disagreements because we have different perspectives. We can bounce ideas off each other. We simply have to know how to navigate that and come to an official decision on things when we have those moments. But arguing says we are being disrespectful, whether our tone is negative, the words that we're using, you know, we're getting loud, we're getting angry, we're basically throwing negative energy at our partner. That's not healthy. There's nothing healthy about that. But a lot of people will say that because they want to validate the unhealthiness in their relationship. They don't want to face the issue of, I need to learn how to talk to my partner better. I don't want to have to fix my tone. Why do I have to watch what I say? Because that's what an adult does.
Wow.
All right, grow up. Like, I'm sorry to anyone listening to this, but that's just real. We can't just think it's okay, especially with our partners, to speak however we want, to throw all kinds of insults, to be disrespectful and think this is okay. Because what people are not realizing is all it takes is that one really bad argument to plant a seed of negativity that now grows into something worse in the relationship. A lot of people's issues are not the issue that they're facing in that current moment. It's the culmination of all kinds of things before then. It's the buildup from that last time you disrespected me or made me feel some kind of way. And ever since then, I've resented you. And now in this resentment, I've given you an attitude. You didn't know what the attitude was about because I didn't communicate clearly. Now you're giving me attitude. And now you see how it turns into other things. Now that attitude turns into not having sex with each other. That attitude turns into, the way that we talk to each other in general. Maybe becoming secretive because now we don't feel like dealing with each other anymore. And what you don't realize is it started from disrespectful arguing.
Wow.
All right? It could also start from some other stuff. All right? But arguing is a huge problem for a lot of people, and we can't just keep sweeping under the rug. So going back to your point about the whole take me at my worst, yes, worst moment. You can have a moment.
Always like this.
Yeah,
and once in a while, a good attitude.
Exactly. Consistent negative behavior has to be addressed and corrected.
So arguments are disrespect, but disagreements is okay. Is that what you said?
Yeah, disagreement is acceptable. Disrespect is not.
Yes. So you can always disagree, and you can agree to not agree.
Yeah.
Or you can, is that right? Agree to disagree.
Yeah, agree to disagree.
But what I'm hearing you say is that arguing, saying what's on your mind in an angry, aggressive way, tearing down a partner is never going to do anything good for someone.
Exactly. People have to understand, whenever someone feels attacked, they will defend themselves. Even if they know they're wrong, even if the point you're making is actually solid, the way you're coming at them negates their ability to receive it. That's why even me as a speaker, my focus has been, do I want to be heard or do I want people to receive my message? All right? If I want to be heard, I can speak however I want. I can be blatant with the insults. I can cut people down. I can just make jokes of everybody's situation because it's just entertainment. I just want to be heard. But no, I want people to receive it. And if I want people to receive it, I have to be more considerate, more compassionate. I have to check my tone. I have to be careful with my words. And that's why if people watch my videos, they'll see I try to be very careful with my words because I want you to receive what I'm saying. So if we're in a relationship, we have to take that approach. If you want them to hear you, be mindful of how you're talking to them.
Why is this so hard for people?
Because again, they don't want to face or they don't want to do the work of correction. All right. And the work of correction can entail the healing and again, facing those issues. It's also conditioning. If people have been brought up in households and environments where this is how they talk to each other, it's very
hard to change that, yeah.
It's foreign to now speak in a more loving and positive way. It's foreign to sit and be quiet and listen. All right. So now they have to reprogram themselves, and that's a lot of work. And I think also the acceptance of the way you're communicating is wrong. People don't like to face that they were wrong. They don't want to have to accept that. So it's, no, I have to dig an even deeper hole and stick with this whole negative approach of how I do things because no, there's nothing wrong with this. Or I see other people do it, but they're fine. No, they're not fine. They're not okay. So I think those reasons, just overall, they don't want to have to do the work. And so they rather make excuses for it.
So it sounds like, again, we go back to step one, healing.
Always.
If you can learn to heal, you can start to improve the quality of your choices, dating someone in a relationship or getting out quicker. You can be a more effective communicator in relationships, whether you're dating or in a long-term committed relationship. You can have a better relationship overall with yourself when you heal and with someone else. So can you give me a breakdown, a boot camp 101 on how to recognize what you need to heal and then how to start healing that? Okay. What does that look like for someone? Okay, I need to heal, Stephan. What do you mean by that? How do I do it? How do I get started? How long does it take to get healed?
Okay.
Is this a lifelong journey? Is this overnight? What does it look like?
All right, so first thing, how long does it take to heal? It's going to take as long as you're willing to put in the work. Oh. Healing is not a time thing. It's a work thing. Mm-hmm. So when you hear people say time heals all wounds, no, it doesn't. Time alone doesn't heal a damn thing, all right? It can help. It does aid in the process. But by itself, it is no good. You have to take certain steps. So when people think, well, I'm going to take a year off from relationships to heal. Why a year? And if you're not doing the work in that year means nothing. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They took a year off, but what they did was they hid from the world. They hid from relationships. They went in their corner, all right, and distracted themselves, but they never healed. Now they come back out of that year and they're still the same person.
Or maybe they're not the same. Maybe the first few months of dating, they're a little different, but then they fall back into
Exactly, because they never resolved things at its core. Now, in terms of recognizing what to heal, my first step is called the Who Hurt Me list, all right? So you get a piece of paper, you write down on the piece of paper, who hurt me? And now every person who comes to mind, you write them down on the piece of paper. It doesn't matter how long ago it happened, doesn't matter if you think you moved past it, if you think it's not relevant. If they come to mind, then there's some level of relevance there. Put them on the paper in about a sentence or two of what they did to hurt you, all right? This is how we're gonna start to locate what you've been holding on to. But you really gotta go into this exercise very genuine. You can't be trying to control the narrative. You just gotta let yourself feel. Just ask yourself the question, close your eyes, let it come out.
What's the question they should ask? Who hurt me?
That's it. Who hurt me? That's it.
And what if they're like, I can only think of like 3 people that really hurt me. Should they be thinking of like every instant they can think of from childhood of that one comment, or should this be this person punched me in the face?
Anybody who comes to mind. So I don't want them to force it, but I don't want them to undermine it in any kind of way either. Just whoever comes to mind, put them on the paper. Because even if there's a situation where you forgot somebody, if we tackle the big one, you're not gonna be able to escape the big ones. The big ones are gonna come out. They're gonna come to mind. Right. If we can tackle those, then that might set the stage where everything else gets taken care of naturally.
Sure.
All right? Because now your awareness is gonna be there and your level of healing will allow you to see things differently.
Because really the big ones might be the ones that cause the most pain. And if you heal that, the other ones are just a pattern of the pain.
Exactly. Yeah. And you will also start to perceive those situations differently once you've healed from the bigger ones.
Okay, so that's step one. Take a piece of paper, write it out. How long should this take? A few minutes, a few hours, depending?
Depending on the person, because, for some people it's gonna get heavy. Yeah. It's gonna get heavy, and that might cause them to wanna pause and take a step back. But I would encourage them, do not walk away from it completely. Stick to it, but it can be as quick as a few minutes. Maybe it takes an hour because they may get emotional in the process, but just don't run from it. But just do it. Don't even worry about the time. Just do it.
Okay. Step one. Step two.
Step two. So step 2, I'm gonna lay this out. I usually don't lay it out, but you know what? I feel like I gotta do it today.
Bring it.
I gotta do it today. So step 2 is we gotta get things off our chest. All right.
Okay.
And this is where we do the letter writing process. So there's 2 parts of the letter, or 2 drafts. The first draft is the most important. This is where we're gonna have essentially an emotional detox. We gotta get everything out. So let's say on the list is your mother. I always bring up mothers because so many people have mommy issues, but the world only wants to talk about daddy issues.
Ooh.
All right. And the society has made it to where it's almost wrong for you to tell a woman she was a bad mother or to criticize your mother. So we suppress that a lot more than we do our fathers.
That's interesting.
You know? So let's say it's your mother and you're going to do the first draft. And in that first draft, you're just going to let all your raw emotion out. I don't care if you curse her out. I don't care if you wish death on her. I don't care what nasty, evil thing you say. However you feel, let it come out. You've got to let the anger, the hurt, all pour out of you into this letter. If you don't know how to start the letter, start it with the most damning thing you could say. All right? I hate you because, boom, and then just go from there. It's going to start coming out. Once you uncork that screw, that's it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is where it gets heavier. A lot of people may take a lot more pauses in this process, all right? Because again, so many people have been suppressing this for so long. And again, it's like any other detox. When you start to detox, the bad stuff has to come out first,
Yeah.
all right? And you can't get to a healed place unless you flush out all the negative energy. So this is why it's important. This is not the draft to be politically correct, to try to frame things in the right way. I don't want you to be considerate. I don't want you to think about, well, I did some wrong things too. Forget all that. This first draft is let it rip. Let it rip, let it out. And I guarantee you by just doing that first draft, you're gonna feel better. You're gonna feel a weight come off your shoulders. You're gonna feel more peace to you.
Great. That's the draft 1. Draft
That's
2.
Draft 2. So draft 2 is essentially now, I always tell people, all right, you finish draft 1, pray, meditate, whatever you gotta do, just get to a kind of level place mentally.
Calm,
all right,
yeah.
calm. And now read the letter to yourself as if you were them.
Oh.
Okay? And now, so put yourself in their shoes, and anything that now comes off as attacking, condescending, blatantly insulting, you're going to change it. You're not changing the message. You're just changing your delivery of the message, all right? And the importance behind this is twofold. One, we talked about it earlier. People don't know how to communicate without being negative. Their tone, their delivery is horrible. So this letter is going to help you learn how to take your negative emotions and thoughts and now turn it and reword it into a much more loving, positive message. Now, loving positive does not mean you won't say some things that aren't hurtful to them or a hard pill for them to swallow. There's just a difference between lashing out and expressing how you feel. Saying, this is how you impacted my life. This is how I perceive things, rather than you're this, you're that, you're this. That's the first draft. But the second draft is just, you're just changing your delivery of the message. So by the end of it, you have fully expressed yourself, but in a more calm, loving manner. This is going to allow, one, it's going to teach you how to be better in your communication.
Interesting.
But also, and this is the part people aren't going to like, and I won't go too deep into this part. For those who may have to send it, and I would just suggest getting the book to see if they got to send it or not, all right? Because it breaks all of this down. But for those who do have to send it, it's going to give you a much greater chance of great things to come from that letter. Not that that's the focus of the letter. The focus of the letter is for your healing. So I don't care if you did send it and they never responded. I don't care if you sent it and they rejected everything you said in it. Because the purpose is your release of all those emotions, all right? And you've got to embrace forgiveness. And forgiveness is another piece of this healing puzzle. Forgiving them and forgiving yourself as well. That's the real focus. But I have seen amazing things happen because of these letters.
Really?
Yes.
From people receiving them.
Yes. I've seen...
So these are not letters that you send out that say, you're horrible, you ruined my life. That's not draft 1. You're sending out draft 2, which is more of a place of, this is how this scenario impacted me.
Yeah, this is how you made me feel.
It's more of a responsibility as well. How it made me feel is that I'm hearing you say.
Absolutely, yeah. Because it's very different to accuse someone and attack someone versus saying, but this is how I received it.
Right, whether you're right or wrong.
Exactly. Because also understand this. Hurt people hurt people. And some people might reject that because they say, well, I'm hurt and I never hurt nobody. That's a lie. Whether you realize it or not, you have hurt people. One example I'll give that comes to mind, let's say you're a woman or a man, and you were hurt in your last relationship, and now you've become guarded. Now, to you, you're still operating as a loving human being, but what you don't realize is your guardedness is still hurting either the potential partner or someone that you do get with, because you're unwilling to give them your whole heart.
Wow.
All right? So you still
You're not
them.
attacking them. Maybe you're not punching them or cheating on them, but you're holding back.
Exactly.
Wow.
And you're still undermining the relationship. So you're still hurting them, and you're hurting yourself because you're not allowing yourself to experience the full greatness of it, because you won't fully dive in because you're scared and you're guarded, and that has to be fixed. But going back to the original point I want to make is, in that same mode, the hurt person does not always realize how much they're hurting you. We have to understand that damaged individuals are operating from a very selfish mindset. It's, I'm protecting myself. Think about the person who is overly critical of everyone else. They're always criticizing. They're not doing it because their intention is to hurt others. They're doing it because they want to keep the spotlight off of them and to protect themselves from criticism. So I'm going to hit you before you hit me.
Dang.
All right? So again, a lot of our parents, the things that they did not understand. And even if they had some semblance of an idea, they're so caught up in their own feelings, they're blinded by it. So a lot of times this letter basically takes the blinders off. When you do it in that loving manner, because like I said earlier, do you want to be heard or do you want them to receive the message? The yelling, the screaming, the lashing out, they heard that because you may have done that with them in the past, but they never received you in that moment. Now expressing yourself in a calm, loving manner, they can't help but receive you. And even those who reject what you're saying, trust me, it has hit them in a way nothing else has. And I've seen situations where the offender has broken down in tears after realizing how bad they were being. But they never connected with that previously because their emotions, their feelings blinded them from that. It's a lot, man.
First two steps sound like a pretty deep work.
It is. It is absolutely deep work, but it's necessary work. I mean, listen, no one says healing is easy, but it's necessary and it's absolutely worth it. And it's a game changer. Like, I just don't think people understand how much better your life will be. And you know what? Let's take a moment to say this isn't even about your emotional relationship life. It's about your overall quality of life. A lot of people's illnesses are from a lack of emotional health. All right?
That's true.
And what we have to understand is a suppression of feelings, a lack of healing creates emotional stress. Stress is now it's always been the number one inducer of disease. It is the number one trigger that sets everything else wrong in your body. All right? If you cure stress, you cure the body. A lot of things, it changes after that. So your overall health, your overall quality of life is dependent on you healing and releasing that negative energy. So it's so much bigger than just a relationship.
Overall quality of life.
Yes.
Not just in that one relationship, but every relationship.
Every relationship, every aspect of life.
So do you write a letter for the 30 people that were on that Who Hurt You list? Or is it more, okay, pick like the two or three big people in your life that you really were affected by, start with those letters and then keep going?
Start with those letters. And what I have seen in all my years of doing this is that,
and sometimes you don't send it to the person also, right?
There's going to be some circumstances where you wouldn't send it. Majority of the times, I would encourage sending it. All right. Now, again, I tell people that if you're a believer, pray about it as well. Because to me, God gives you the ultimate answer in that. But I do believe that the vast majority of situations, the letter needs to be sent. All right. But again, there are some caveats there. There are some differences. And you had asked what again?
Do you send a letter to everyone on the hurt list?
Oh, so yes. What I have seen from most people is that once you knock off the big ones,
first 3, 4, 5 people.
Yeah.
You don't need to write a letter.
You don't have to write a letter to everybody else. Because again, you see things differently now. So now think about it like this. Your hurt or how you took offense to something, you now see it differently after you resolve those other ones. Now you realize it wasn't even about you in those situations. Again, hurt people. They're just projecting negativity onto you. It wasn't even about you. They just took it out on you. And now when you now start to not internalize people's actions, it frees you in a way that you were never freed before. You know, and that's why it's so important that we have to learn not to take things personally, because we don't know where that person's actions and negativity is really coming from. A lot of times, most of the times, it's not even about us. It goes way deeper than that. And if we learn not to take it personally and not to internalize it, we can navigate the situation so much better.
Right.
Because what's happening is you allow them to trigger you. Now you get into a negative space. Now you fight fire with fire, and the fire gets worse.
That's been me most of my life. Most of my previous relationships, that's how I showed up, which was I'm doing to defend myself. You're attacking me for something, whether it's true or not, I'm going to defend myself. And I'm going to fight back. What happens when we do that with our partner?
We just make it a battle. We set the stage for more battling. And here's the worst part about it. We not just battle in that moment. That battle usually turns into saying something we regret, doing something that we didn't realize we did. Now they hold on to that. So now they take that one small thing from that battle.
For years.
Exactly. That creates more battles. So you don't win. You don't win trying to fight fire with fire.
So what should you do if someone's fighting you with fire? How should you respond?
You throw water on them. Okay?
A bucket of water.
And that water is love, patience, grace. And if they don't honor that, you let them go. Unfortunately, listen, if we're in a relationship, whether that be family or romantic, and we're dictating to them that, listen, the way we do things here is we have calm conversation, we be respectful towards each other, we don't take this to a negative place, and they cannot honor that, then you stop engaging with that person.
What if someone says, you know what, don't try to tell me how to act and how to feel. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to react at times. It's natural to let yourself feel these things. These are human emotions. And it's okay to argue every now and then. Don't try to tell me what to do.
Again, a moment. So if I'm in a relationship and we've set the standard of healthy communication, and my partner has a moment where she starts to yell and go crazy or whatever, right? And I recognize this is a moment. I might let that slide. And when I say let it slide, I don't mean not acknowledge the issue. I simply mean, okay, let her get it out. Let her vent, all right? Now, once it's done, remind her that, listen, we're not doing that. Like, that was a moment. We don't make that a consistent pattern, all right? So we keep that there. I let you have that moment. But we don't get to keep doing that because that's unhealthy. And if you feel like, well, everyone should be able to just no, that's not how we do things here. Listen, everyone has to set the standard of what is acceptable in their relationship or acceptable in engaging with anyone. And again, this isn't just romantic relationship. My family knows I don't argue. I don't argue with nobody. Okay?
You can disagree.
I disagree, but we're not arguing.
What's the difference between disagreeing and arguing?
Again, disagreeing is simply respectfully, calmly, and when I say calmly, we can get passionate, but we don't get disrespectful, we don't get negative or toxic, and we simply state our opposing belief to something.
You don't have an attitude that you're wrong and bad. How could you think that?
Exactly. Now, again, that takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of work depending on how you've grown up and what you've engaged in, but that has to be the goal. And it's not so hard if we just practice and stick to practicing it. Like, we can't just keep making excuses for being all over the place and acting out of character. No, we have to set a certain standard, and we have to adhere to that standard. All right, and if you can't, okay, then we can't keep talking. End of story. Like, I'm not gonna entertain, like, even in social media, if someone leaves a negative comment, I'm not answering that. For what? I can recognize who are the people that just want to go back and forth with you. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not arguing with you. I will state my case. You either take it or you don't.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Speak your truth and leave it at that.
What would be, let's say, okay, I did step one, I wrote the list, I started writing letters, I sent some of these letters out, but I'm still feeling triggered. I still don't feel healed. Is there more steps to healing 101? Or is it just now is it time?
No, so the other part I mentioned earlier was forgiveness. All right. And forgiveness is a huge part. But what people have to understand with forgiveness isn't a snap of the finger thing. All right. Meaning you could do all of this. You can say, I forgive them. I'm good. I'm moving forward. And like you said, 2-3 weeks later, something happens and you're triggered.
You got to keep forgiving.
Exactly. In that moment, you have to stop yourself. See, the mistake we make is that when we get triggered, we allow ourselves to dive into it. We dwell in that moment. And so now you're staying in that negative place. What you have to do is recognize the moment, say, no, I forgave them. What's done is done. I'm moving forward. And that's it. Keep practicing it. And as you practice it, you'll notice you're triggered less. You'll notice it's affecting you less. Now you'll get to a point where it doesn't bother you at all. You're not fazed by it. So it's a reprogramming of the brain to say, you know what, this doesn't matter anymore. It's done. It's in the past. But it's not just forgiving them, it's forgiving ourselves. And that's a big hurdle for a lot of people. There are people listening to this who will be able to say, I forgave that person, but you're still beating yourself up. You're still holding the mistake over your own head. Whatever that is. And you have to learn that we all make mistakes. We all fall short. Learn from them, grow, move forward. Do not dwell on them. And so it's the same thing. Every time you find yourself beating yourself up, no, I forgive myself. I'm done. What's done is done. I'm moving forward. That's it. You keep saying it to yourself. You will get to a place where it doesn't bother you anymore.
Is it harder to forgive someone that did something horrible to you, or is it harder to forgive yourself?
It depends on what they did. I think that's going to vary from situation to situation. But I will say, if I had to lean towards one, I would say forgiving ourselves is harder.
Why is it harder?
Because we live with ourselves.
Because we live with ourselves.
Yes. You see, like, that person can do that one thing, and it can be very hurtful. But we may not see them again. We may not face a circumstance like that again. There may be buffers in our life that allows us to detach from what happened. But when we make our mistake, we have to live with that. We have to face ourselves in the mirror. And then there may be other mistakes we make that pile onto that. See, that person may have one offense that we have to forgive them for, but we can end up having several offenses against ourselves. And now it becomes a harder journey for a lot of people to just accept that we're all flawed and we're all gonna fall short. I'll keep saying that. None of us get it perfect. None of us has never made a mistake. And you know how they say even in business, everyone who's successful has failed. And so in life, it's the same thing. Anyone who's successful at life has made mistakes. You're either gonna learn from them or you're gonna dwell on them. And too many people are dwelling in their mistakes.
Is there anything in your life you haven't healed yet?
You really put me on the spot today.
You know.
So I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but I will say that I've done the letter before. All right, so I've done this whole process.
Sometimes you need to write multiple letters to the same person.
No, so the person I did it for, I did all the big ones, so to speak, but there was a small one with a family member that I didn't realize was a problem till years after. Because to me at the time, I kind of brushed under the rug. It's whatever, no big deal. Now I will say this, and I'm not trying to make excuses. The issue I don't believe has any detrimental impact on my relationships. All right, because I do believe there. Don't do that. Don't do that. No, you're right. I'm not. Listen, I'm gonna handle it. The letter's gonna be written.
When?
All right?
By when?
By next week. By next week.
What day?
Give me till. You know what?
Why not write it on your flight home? Write it on your flight home.
You know what? I'll do it today.
Let's go, baby. I like that.
I'll do it today.
Okay.
I got time with the hotel room.
So you'll write the letter you need to write.
Yes.
And then is this a letter you send to this person?
Yeah, that one will be sent. Absolutely.
Interesting. Now, do you do a two-step process there where you write, or a two-draft process where you write?
Yeah, I would still do.
And then
I truly believe in all those steps, and I believe that we should not skip any of them because skipping them can really throw things off. All right, because again, you don't want to say, "Well, I'm not really that mad, so I don't need draft one," right? But then, for all you know, you've been suppressing more anger than you realize.
Just say, "I f***ing hate you because."
Exactly.
Start it with that.
Yes.
And let it rip.
Yes.
And if nothing really comes, great. But allow yourself to go as crazy as you want.
Exactly. So I would not skip a step, and I would encourage everyone, if you do this process, Do not skip steps. Don't remix steps. I've seen some people say, well, I didn't do a letter, I sent a text. No.
It doesn't work.
Exactly. It's not the same thing. You can't send a text. You can't do one draft. Don't skip things. Do the whole thing.
Why
as
does
outlined.
writing a letter, why is that more powerful than typing or texting or voice messaging a letter?
So, because voice message, text, typing is not bad. All right.
So you can type a letter.
Type or
and print
writing
it
is
out.
fine. Yes. But text and voice message is bad because inherently and subconsciously, those are quick hitting ways of expressing ourselves. All right. We don't do a voice message to leave a 10, 15-minute message. All right. We typically do it for a quick 1 minute, 2 minute, 3. It can be longer at times, but there's this thing in us that doesn't allow us to really draw it all the way out. Because if what you're feeling needs to be a 30-page long letter, you're not going to do a 30-page worth voice memo, chances are. Unless you wrote it first and then you expressed it through a voice recording. Or what you can do is you could record yourself, all right? Let it all out in recording and then re-record the second draft. So you can do it by voice recording. But when it's a text voice memo and all that kind of stuff, or text messages, because again, texts are condensed ways of expressing ourselves. They're not made for long expressions. So even if you say, well, no, you can't, it's just not gonna work the same. And it's very easy for you to feel like, well, typing all of that, and if you gotta go back to type more, and it's gonna spread over to like 10, 20 texts, most people aren't gonna do that. They're gonna try to make it shorter. So no, do the letter, but the alternative, voice recording, is an acceptable method.
Wow. Okay. So we've talked about, so that's the thing you still need to heal, still work on yourself personally, is writing that letter.
Yeah. And I will say this, because I want it to be understood that I do believe there's some level of blockage because of it. So even though I said I don't think it had, or I don't believe, and I'm pretty confident in saying it doesn't have, it's always a might. You're right. It's always possible. But I guess from my evaluation, I don't see it pouring into any of my, into a romantic relationship. But,
Never know.
And let me say this, not directly, but indirectly. So what I mean by that is sometimes the things that we're holding on to, and this is just maybe a random example, but let's say the weight of these things causes you to fall into depression at times, all right? So even though you may not see it as I'm directly going to be negative towards my partner, you falling into depression impacts the relationship.
It's still you being a hurt person.
Exactly, and they have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So it can always indirectly impact our relationships, and that's why it's important for us to not sweep it under the rug. And so that's why I'm completely committed to doing it, and I was planning on doing it because I know that I don't want to leave any stone unturned. You know what I'm saying?
How long have you been thinking about this?
Since the beginning of the year. Since the beginning of the year.
The time now. Now's the time.
It's time.
Wow.
It dawned on me in the beginning of the year. I was like, you know what? I think I got to do this. But then I had went somewhere, and then it, life, and you just keep sweeping on the rug. And that's the mistake. That's the problem that we have. We let life get the best of us, and we get busy, and we get distracted. And again, doing these exercises isn't easy all the time. But we've got to commit to it. And we got to commit to understanding if we want the best for ourselves, for our life, for our relationships, we've got to cover all the bases when it comes to healing.
Let's say someone's single and they're meeting different people to date, right? And they don't want to, well, maybe this is something they should do. What would be 3 questions they should ask to know if they have the right connection with someone? Seeing as you said, connection is something that you can't create. You either have it or you don't. Mm-hmm. What are 3 questions to ask that person in the first hour of meeting them if you think you have connection?
I don't even think it's questions to ask. I'll give you 3 things they should do, all right? 3 things. Number 1, be your authentic self, all right? So no representative, no game playing, no trying to maneuver this because you really like this person and want them. No, just be yourself. And either they're going to like you and love you for who you are, or they're not.
What does that mean? Like, say everything that's on your mind, be as like quirky as you want to be, just be unfiltered.
If that's who you are, Yes, if that's who you are. So if you're a
So don't be on your
person-
best behavior of like, okay, I'm gonna let this slide and this slide.
No. So let me give you a perfect example. Let's say for a woman, she's dating a guy and she views this guy as very conservative. All right. So she thinks she has to come and be an angel on this date, be a good girl. All right. But lo and behold, she's a little scandalous. She's a little out there. All right. But what she doesn't realize is he likes that.
Right.
He actually wants the side of her she's not showing. All right. But she's projecting what she thinks that she needs to bring to the table because of who she thinks he is. But she doesn't know the full real him. So a lot of people don't even realize they're shooting themselves in the foot because you're doing you're being what you think you should be, rather than just be yourself. And if they're connecting with that, great. If they don't, so be it. Let's not play any games with each other. So again, if you're quirky, be quirky. If you're a very affectionate person, be affectionate. Granted, there can be boundaries drawn so that we don't make any confusion as to setting the wrong message. But don't hinder being your true self.
Yes.
Because that only throws things off.
Okay. That's
Second
number one.
thing is be very honest and transparent. All right. So it's one thing to be yourself, but sometimes when the conversation goes into certain areas, we don't want to be open and honest about what we're thinking or how we feel. Let's say, for example, not that people need to be talking about politics on the first date, but let's just say they ask you about politics, right?
Say how you feel.
Yes, because what purpose does it serve for you to try to dodge it, to then find out later that you guys don't get together? Right. Perfect example, I had a client one time who met this guy. She felt that there was a connection there. She felt like this was it, right? And they had some other issues, but one of the sticking issues they had was he was a Trump supporter, she was not.
Wow.
Okay? Now I said, listen, so you're telling me that you guys may not get together over a man who will only be president for X amount of years, okay? But your relationship can span way past that. Now, I understand for people it goes deeper than that.
His values or something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the point is, if he swept it under the rug and tried to just avoid his political standing.
Just to get you to like him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Only for it to come out later and destroy everything, you only delayed the inevitable. I'd rather know that we're not on the same page from day one than to wait into year one or year two. That makes no sense. All right. And again, to me, if there's a true connection, we're either going to have the same values or we're going to be able to work through them.
Yeah.
Because connection does not mean that everything is going to be in perfect alignment as far as how we see things. But we will be able to embrace each other's differences. That difference wouldn't make us want to walk away from each other. Mm-hmm. All right. So again, be yourself and answer things openly and transparently, so we're not leaving any mystery here or playing any games.
Yep. And then the third thing?
The third thing is just be aware. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. So I have a quote I love to use, and it says, you don't have to be happy that you are single, but you need to learn how to be happy while you're single. And in this video, I'm gonna lay out to you the things that you need to focus on to find that happiness. My name is Stephan, aka Stephan Speaks, and I'm back with another life and dating relationship advice video for women. And we're gonna be talking about the 7 things single women should focus on, all right? Before we get started, as always, be sure to like this video, share it